Hey guys, and happy Homebrew Wednesday. Drinking up on my Monterey Pale Ale clone. Cheers. This is from keg number 2, and it's tasting mighty fine. Definitely a lot of sort of tropical notes. A bit of citrus, but more sort of apricot, peachy, some stone fruit notes. Yeah, it's definitely a lighter pale ale, the tropical pale ales, as opposed to something a little bit more dank. So I was racking off the Supercharger into a couple kegs today. I took quite a bit of footage of that, so let me go ahead and squeeze that in here for you now and check it out. Okay, so I'm done fermenting the Supercharger American Pale Ale. So what I've done is I've taken the bung out of the top. I've put a Star Sand soaked paper towel on top of the hole, just to make sure nothing gets in, but it allows air in. So I've hooked up a pipe here to the exit valve. I took a gravity sample earlier. It looks like we're right about 10-12, so I'll go ahead and show you that after. But got it coming out of the valve here. I've got the keg that was pressurized with CO2. Now I've sort of got it venting, depressurized, and so I'm going to go ahead and crack this open. Let gravity put the beer into the keg from the bottom up through the outlet valve. So I had it pressurized. I've depressurized it now. Mostly CO2 sort of blanket in the keg, keeping the beer protected. So let's go ahead, crack it open, and hope that everything flows good. Okay, no holes. No holes. It's filling up the keg. You can hear it. Now, I have no idea what the level is at coming down, so I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and peek up. I need to keep my eye on this keg, and I may have to crack the top in a little bit just to sort of see where it is, because when I do it like this, like a closed system, I've got no idea where the volume is. It's not like it's been chilled, so I can't see the condensation on the keg. It's a little bit confusing. What I can do, actually, what I probably should be doing, is weigh it, because then I can know for sure by the weight of the keg how much beer is in the keg. Let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to stop it. Let's just see how much beer is in there now. In full tribute to the man, I've got myself a suitcase weight machine here. So I'm going to go ahead and set it to 0. Check the weight of the keg. It's only 7 kilos, so there's only about 3 liters in there now. A 19-liter keg, Cornelius keg, weighs about, what's the number? 3.9 kilos. So I know this weighs 3.9 kilos. So when I take a measurement, all I gotta do is minus the 3.9 kilos, and that will tell me how many liters is in the bad boy. Let's see. It's feeling pretty nice. It's a nice light American Pale Ale. But it's definitely got more of those, I think, more citrus, piney, dank notes, which is going to be really nice. Definitely different than the Mosaic Galaxy Tropical Pale Ale from the Monterey Street Pale Ale. You can start to hear the CO2 coming out of the top from the CO2 release valve. I've got that open. If I close the release valve, it should cause pressure inside. and stop filling. So then I can take a reading. Without having to affect the outflow. 11.5. So I'm a little bit less than halfway. It's going kind of slow. Here, so you can see it a little bit better coming out of the output port of the fermenter. I've got sort of a tube within a tube here. It's tight enough to create a nice seal coming down, up. And I actually didn't have a valve to fit on there, so I actually just screwed that right on that that fit in. So that actually is working okay. .34. Alright, that's right about 5. Go ahead, just close off the pressure. Close it off here. Now it's got beer in the line, and I'm not going to lose any when I take this thing off because it's going to lock. So it's full of beer, good to go. Open her up, put her on. Now I'm ready to go in. Now I'm ready to go ahead and fill it up, but I want to take the top off this thing, take a look in. I know it's going to expose it to air, but I need to be able to adjust this valve when it gets down to that level. Leave that there. Crank her open. Okay, I see it starting to pump. Starting to go in. I can hear it. It's good. The valve is open. Level's about here now. Still got a ways to go. Smelling really nice. While we're waiting for that to come up, I guess I can show you the gravity sample here. Just see it. It's just a little bit under. So it's about 10, 11, 10, 12. The top of the meniscus is right about just a hair over the 12 line, so I'm going to call it at 12. So we still got a little bit ways to go, maybe about 5 or 6 inches before we get to the valve where I have to turn it. A closed system like this is just exactly what you want. You want minimal air contact. Of course you got to have air. The only other way in order to alleviate having air going into the top, you know, and letting gravity push just out, is actually to push CO2 in. So I got a CO2 tank over there in the back. I use it for various things. For example, pressurizing kegs and whatever I need it for. It will get to the point of where I have an inlet and be able to pressure push the beer out of the fermenter and into the keg. So try and have a closed loop, completely oxygen-free environment, and hopefully that will produce better beer. We'll see. 22.8. It's right there at the top. 5 liters, or 5 gallons. $23.2. So we know it can hold more than 5 gallons. Let me go ahead and show you what I got left inside. There we go. It's inside. Still got quite a bit in there. It's looking probably like a liter, 2 liters maybe. Yeah. The yeast is starting to come in from the sides. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. Alright, so when all is said and done, I actually got 2 5-gallon kegs full, plus using a bottle wand. I got 4 750 milliliter bottles full. I put some Cooper drops in them, 2 each, and we'll see how those do versus the kegs. So you got to be happy about that. I'm definitely happy about that. So yeah, time for cleanup, and let me show you what the inside of the fermenter looks like, and then we'll wrap it up. There's the 2 kegs full. There's the bucket just for mingling off the drip. Here we go inside. See the tube at the bottom. It's not so much. It's a little bit of gunk. I'm sure the stopper is in there somewhere, so I gotta fetch that thing out. But look at that. Definitely had the blow off. So that's got some cleaning to do. So I guess I better get to that. So that was it. Pretty cool. I was able to score 4 extra bottles from that. So I went ahead and put some carbonation drops in them, threw them in the corner. I'll forget about them for probably a month or 2, and then revisit the bottles and see how they're different than what's coming out of the kegs. Also spent a better part of the day, a couple hours at least, kegging away, or not kegging away, but bottling some beers as well. So I went ahead and bottled up all my brown ale. I think I got close to 15 liters. So I got the sample back there of the Supercharger. So let's go ahead, take a whiff of it, take a taste, and I'll tell you what I think. I already showed you that it was about 10-12, so came right out on my target. It's actually pretty good. It's got one of those sort of spicy, piney, danky notes to it. Just yeah, let's dive into this. Cheers, guys. Okay. Yeah. Definitely a little bit of dankness. A little bit of pininess to it. Really gonna look forward to this. This is definitely gonna be something different than the tropical pale ales that I've been brewing up of late. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's gonna be really good. Kegs are cooling down now. It's been in the fermenter at 18 degrees. Gonna cool it down for 24 hours. Then I'll throw CO2 for it. The way that I do CO2 for my beers is I'll put it on 30 psi for 24 hours. Then I'll turn that down to 20 psi for 2 days, 48 hours. And then I'll turn that down to 10 psi for 3 to 5 days, and then it's good to go. I'm in no rush. You know, I've got plenty of beer. There's nothing to rush for. But speaking of other pale ales, the other tropical pale ales that I've had of late are also the Amarillo and Citra Pale Ale. That beer was kind of interesting. I think that beer was kind of interesting for a couple different reasons. In one keg, I fermented it with USO5, and then in the other keg, I fermented it with USO4. USO4, of course, the closest fresh yeast equivalent is WLP007. With that beer, the Citra Amarillo hops, I was kind of surprised because the USO5 one was not as crisp as the dry English ale yeast. With that beer, it's got lots of fruity notes. It's a beautiful tasting tropical-esque beer. The USO5, you would think that it would be cleaner, but in fact, I found that with Citra and Amarillo, the beer came out even more sort of muddy or malty. All I did differently was the 2 different yeasts, one in one 5-gallon batch, the USO4 in another 5-gallon batch. And just to see the yeast difference in that, you know, was interesting. You know how an IPA or a pale ale sort of goes downhill? The USO5 ones went downhill probably a couple weeks faster than the USO4 ones. Or the USO4 ones are still tasting great. It's the USO5 ones that have sort of turned and are going down. Nothing different about those beers except the yeast. So definitely different yeast characteristics will give you, your hops will play off the hops differently, so that it will come out and be something that you might never expected. Or don't be afraid to play with different combinations. You know, if you think that USO5 with Columbus is a bad deal, try it with a dry English ale yeast, or even just WLP002, an English ale yeast, and see what those fruity esters do with that hop differently than what USO5 did. So it is Christmas time, so I want to say Merry Christmas to everyone out there. I hope you guys have happy holidays. Cherish it, be with the ones that you love, and just, soak it all in. That's all I got for you guys this week. Really looking forward to the Supercharger being kegged up next weekend, giving it a try, and hopefully next week, just after Christmas, I'll be able to tell you what I think. Beyond that, I got nothing. I hope you guys are having a hell of a week. Have a better weekend. Cheers.